Monaco 64 here, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So I'm surprised a lot of you are here already, waiting for the live stream to start. Nice to see everyone. We've got Hori Fumuyu, Steve Ince, Simon, Kevin Vanderwire, David Morsilli. Hi, Mario. This is exactly why the central banks of the world have been deliberately designed to fail, as they are about to. Yeah, I agree with you. What a shambles. Hi, Smoke and Mirrors, Sash Media. So, hi, Lord Humongous. Thank you, Mario the Great. Hi, Chris Gamer. Chris Gamer, you've changed to, you used to be Button Banger, weren't you? I think you've changed your YouTube channel name. So the title of my live stream is Plan to Bring Down Economy, to bring economy down, plan to bring economy down in order to impose one world government. And why am I talking about this? Because believe it or not, I kind of started looking into this because of all the fires that have been going on in California, Southern California, and Northern California, and I remember listening to this video earlier in the year, and it was about 8 months ago. And it was quite amazing, and it's still up on the internet. It says, plan to burn up Northern California disclosed. And I'll put a link below in the description once this live stream is recorded. I'll also put the link here right now for you guys if you want to listen to it later on. But it's this woman called Deborah Tavares, and this is back in February. She's saying that PG&E, owned by Rothschilds and Rockefellers, she was warning people that they were going to use weather weapons, laser, to start fires in Northern California. This was 8 months ago, and lo and behold, it's happened. And we've heard that PG&E has been involved. So is this coincidence? I don't think so. Yes, Lord Humongous. I don't know if they own it completely, but they're heavily, involved in that company. Listen to the video, and she talks about it. Not only the Rothschilds, but Rockefellers as well, and apparently Southern Edison, they're involved as well. And they, the Rothschilds, recently, a few years ago, bought the Weather Central as well, which helps them with all of this. So why are they doing this? Why are they trying to, why are they starting these fires? Well, I think it's because their plans for global warming or climate change, whatever you want to call it, this was their original plan in order to bring a world government. And why is that? Well, because if you have a problem that affects everyone and that doesn't affect borders, like their bogus global warming or climate change, man-made that is, then you can impose global rules or one world government rules, UN rules. So that's the back door for them to bring in their one world government. And it's funny because I was looking at a video I made in December of 2015, and it's one of my first videos. And I'll also put that in the description and in the cards of this live stream once it's recorded. And I'll give you the link right here as well. Basically, I'm talking here. There's an old video. I don't think my presentation was as good as it is now, but my my style, but I think the content was good, and it's entitled "Climate Change: A Backdoor to World Government" by George Hunt. And this guy, he used to be part of. He's gone now. He was from Colorado, and he used to be part of the environmental, industry. And he worked with these people, and he talks about how Sir Edmund de Rothschild back in the 80s. He was the leading guy behind this. And it's amazing, it all clicked today because I listened to my video again. Thank you, Nuno. Good evening, Sanjit. So yeah, I listened to my video again. And one of the things they said in 1992, and it was in relation to the Rio summit about the Rio summit on climate change and environment, was that if the first world, i.e., America and Western Europe, the rich, the first world countries, did not want to change, and accept this one world government and the climate change and the global rules, that they would pump the world up with humongous debts in order to bring it down. And and then when everyone's down on their knees, they can bring one world government. And I talked about that in my video. And it's good to listen to these videos again. And I kind of forgotten about that. And to me, bad link at Monaco, bad link, last one. Oh, is that my video? Yeah. Oh, hold on. Let me get you. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Let's see this one. Try this one. This is maybe this will work. That's the video I made in December. I'll give you also a video, the George Hunt video as well, about UNCED, which is the UN, United Nations, Committee on Environment and Development. This is also, I highly recommend this. This is George Hunt video. And I'll put all these videos in the description in the cards once this live stream is, recorded. But what I'm trying to say, the other thing as well, I was listening to there's an article in CBS News, and part of the article says, Trump says destruction hasn't changed his mind on climate change. And that's, in reference to, the fires in California. But the most amazing thing for me is when I saw a couple of days ago, this video from 8 months, and this woman, Deborah Tavares from California, warning people 8 months ago that PG&E, which is a Rothschild-controlled and Rockefeller-controlled company, that they were going to burn up Northern California. And I mean, I'm not making this up. Just Google plan to burn up Northern California disclosed. And she talked about that 8 months ago. So I highly recommend you just type that, plan to burn up Northern California disclosed, and you find loads of stuff from this woman. They thought she was crazy, but I think, she's not. And I think we're close to where they, I think what the Federal Reserve is doing by ratcheting up interest rates is, their plan to bring down the whole system. When it's going to be triggered, we don't know. But I think we're very close to it. And that's why it's important more than ever to protect yourself. Some of you might not believe this. I don't care anymore, when I talk to people about it. Some people think it's conspiracy, but you look back and there's proof. Uh, the Rothschilds were 100% behind environmentalism from the 70s, and they used Maurice Strong, a Canadian who was a UN guy for many years, and I think he died about 3-4 years ago. Maurice Strong. So we've got 222 people. That's good here. I will also take questions from everyone. I wanted to talk about this. I think this what's happening in California. You might think it's a little bit wacky, but I think it's got everything to do with this one world government and trying to convince people to buy into climate change. I don't think Donald Trump is buying into it. I don't think I think he is trying to fight globalism, even though I don't agree with a lot of the things he says and has done, like hiring John Bolton or, so, but in this sense, I think that's what he's doing. He is trying to fight this, but I don't know if he'll succeed. But there is one way to protect ourselves as much as we can is to be outside the system, to not play their game, to have some precious metals. Some people like to prep. I'm not sure. I'm not doing that, but and it won't even guarantee that we will do well if everything is collapsed and brought down. But we'll have a better chance. Nothing is for certain in life. So let's see here. There's a lot of gold in California. Yeah. Greetings from Bayfield, Ontario. Hi, RNAJ. Bitcoin Ben and his followers are down 90. Good evening. You got me too. Hi, Stephen. Steve Hen 1000. Nice to see you here. Yeah, I've always thought about that, Stephen, like all those fines, who gets that money? I haven't really looked into that. The people who pay, I guess, would be the shareholders in the end of the day of the bank, maybe the employees a bit. Steven says he's buying more silver. I bought a little bit of silver. It wasn't that much. I went to London this week. I went into central London to meet a friend of mine from high school in Brazil. His name was Anders Pettersson. It was a Swedish name, but he was born in Brazil. His parents were Swedish, and we went to high school together. And I hadn't seen him in 36 years. And it was, we were really close friends, and it was really nice to see him. We had lunch together. Then I went to a coin shop, and I bought like this 1962 $half. It's really in nice condition. And I bought a few silver quarters, 1964 and other years. Not that much, but just a little bit. I always buy a little bit at a time. Is GE doomed? Probably. It doesn't look very good. I haven't really looked closely into it, but it's not doing well. That's Jim Calif fires north and south of my city in California around Ventura County. Yeah, I know it's bad. Yeah. Where is that? I forgot who was talking about the fires in California. Yeah, you should Google plan to burn up Northern California disclosed. And this is not a recent video. This is a video from 8 months ago. So this is very interesting. George Assad, MBS must be extradited to USA to stand trial for murder and mayhem of Khashoggi. Green card holder. Well, a green card holder is not a US citizen, so I don't think the US can do that. And he's got diplomatic immunity, Mohammed bin Salman. I don't think that will ever happen, unfortunately, George. No, not Mike from Maine is here. Hi, Mike. Nice to see you. 85 to 1. Yeah, I think it's settled at 84.76, the gold to silver ratio on Friday. Wandering Soul, good evening from New York. Thank you, Wandering Soul, for the message. Which coin shop? It was actually near Charing Cross. I forgot the name. I know the guy. Is it Coin Direct? It's near the theater land, Charing Cross. You get out of Charing Cross station and you walk up to Covent. You walk up to like Soho, and there's a little shop there past one of the theaters. I forgot the name now. The guy's name is Malcolm. It's quiet though, business for him. We cannot burn our Canadian dollars to stay warm. It's plastic. Now the British pound as well. Now the Bank of England notes. ZSSZ. Deborah Tavares has great interviews with SGT report as well. Worth watching. They're doing this on their Agenda 21. That's right. And the thing is, I think they've known for decades now, since the mid 90s, that Americans were not going to give in to this one world government. So they've gone with their plan B, and plan B is to build up a mountain of debt that we've seen in the last 25 years, and then bring it down, bring it down really badly, and that will, people will be so lives will be so affected, and wealth destroyed so completely that people will accept anything. They will accept this one world government, and I hope it doesn't succeed. But what's the way to protect ourselves? I think it's still, being outside the system and having physical, precious metals. That's the monetary, protection. There are other things you need to prepare, I guess, spiritually and physically and health-wise, but that's not something, that I cover, but, that's common sense. I've got here some, they're 2015 Silver Britannias. They're really nice, these. I bought these when I moved to this new house about 3.5 years ago. So I've got quite a few of these silver 1-ounce coins. They come in 25, pieces, capsules like this. So I'm playing around with my silver today a little bit, just to show you that I'm not just a gold guy, but also a silver guy. Let's see. Chung Chen, do you think XRP could save us from collapse, as it would free up over $10 trillion in Nostro and Vostro accounts, plus many more benefits? I'm not sure it's going to save the general public. It could, but I think it's a way maybe of the bankers, going into the blockchain world. I think, the best way to save yourself monetarily is through precious metals. Rainbird, can you speak about the ever-increasing debt levels and how more borrowing can occur? Well, the ever-increasing debt levels has been done on purpose, but the only way it can keep occurring is that people feel well off enough to keep borrowing, and that the borrowing costs are low enough. But what the Federal Reserve is doing now is not helping that. And we're finding out that in the emerging market countries, where they borrowed a lot in dollars and the costs are going up. So the way I see it, I don't think you can't fight the Fed, and I don't think the Fed wants the borrowing to continue. I think they're on their way to bringing the economy down, and highly recommend you guys watch this video. It's called UN Unsaid Earth Summits 1992 by George Hunt. You just Google that under videos and listen to this video. You know, this guy's passed away, but what he says is quite amazing. And I made a video about that, you know, about this video in December 2015. And I just listened to it again, and I realized that one of their, you know, if these one world people or globalists, they're going to bring the system down. I think because President Trump, he doesn't want to play ball, the globalist ball. I know I don't agree with a lot of things he's done, like John Bolton, the neocon, you know, the way he's been pandering to Israel. But I think he's challenging this one world system, you know, globalist system, and they're going to have to pull the system down. And I think that's what Jay Powell is doing right now. Jay Powell doesn't work for the United States. He works for the one world crowd, the globalists, internationalists. Jim, California, should we buy UK silver coins and Mexico libertarian silver coins for California residents? Well, I'm in the UK, Jim, but you know, I would say it's better for you to buy the American silver coins. But I don't think it matters if you buy UK or Mexican silver, because you know they're silver, right? You know, I have maple leaves. I have American coins. I've got the Libertad coins as well here in the UK. So yeah, I have a mix. So if it's silver, it doesn't really matter. But it might be easier for you to barter with it if it's American, being in California. Thank you, Steve. 21,000 subs. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of slowed down a little bit. Sometimes, you know, it goes in cycles, you know, the viewership and the new subscribers. So I just have to keep going, you know, and that's, you know, that's how you just keep trying to do your best. Yeah, someone says here, Tom Seward, FEMA is building concentration camps all over USA. Yeah, I think, you know, this one world thing in Agenda 21 and all these fires, it's also trying to drive people away from, you know, the countryside into the cities. So, you know, if you have a lot of these fires, a lot of these maybe manufactured weather events, people are going to lose their homes. They're going to have to be put somewhere. Maybe that's what the FEMA camps are there for. Who knows? Temporarily. FEMA. Sanjit, you do not cover much family-based collective societies. Things are not gloomy in family-based countries. Probably not, because, well, the thing is, I don't, you know, I agree, you know, like Western Europe and the US, especially Western Europe, they're trying to destroy the family. You know, they started that, I would say, and I don't want to piss off my female viewers, but Aaron Russo in his from freedom to America, from freedom to fascism, in his documentary, he talks about how Nicholas, his friend Rockefeller, told him that the feminist movement in the 60s was started by the Rockefellers in order to break up the family and to get more women working and more taxpayers. But you know, that's where we live. I guess you're talking about India. It's more family oriented, and that's good, you know. But right in Western Europe, it's not. Yeah, I saw that. Big Daddy, Bank of Japan total assets now exceed Japan GDP. Ian Falkingham, Deutsche Bank shares have fallen considerably of late. Could this be another bank Big banking problem for world economy. Well, Deutsche Bank, we know it's a problem. All the other big to fail banks are a problem. It's not just Deutsche Bank. The problem. Stephen 1000, Jim Ricker says IMF is going to put SCRs on the blockchain by December 31st. Well, SDRs is just a basket of fiat currencies. It's rubbish, unless they back it by gold. SDRs were created in the 60s by the US Treasury in order to try to fool people into not asking the US Treasury to be redeemed in gold under the Bretton Woods rules. So SDR is a fraud. I wouldn't, buy into it. Wouldn't put my money into it. My friends bought gold in Saudi Arabia and sold it for a 3% profit in the USA. Possible reasons? Well, one reason is that when they bought in Saudi Arabia, the price was X, and then they went to the US and the price was higher. All right. Or, if the price hadn't changed, maybe the premium was higher in the US and that's why they got it. So, but you got 3% of fiat money. You need to hold on to your gold, I think. All gold and silver measured in troy ounces. Yeah, 1 troy ounce is 31.1035 grams. That's right. People need to be careful with that because a lot of people think 1 ounce, because 1 ounce, normal ounce is 28.5 grams, I think. Yeah, so you need to be careful. It's a troy ounce is more grams than the normal ounce. Tom is being mean, says Big Daddy. What's Tom saying? I don't know. Tom Seward. Big Daddy, you're a punk. Do your research. FEMA is closing Walmarts and transforming them. Weimar inflation is coming soon. It could. Well, the thing about Deutsche Bank, it's been in trouble for so long, and just it's like a zombie bank, and it keeps going. Chung Chang, 1 ounce. The normal ounce is 28 grams. That's right, but the troy ounce, which is what gold is traded in, the troy ounce is 31.035 grams. So yeah, when people say an ounce of gold, they mean troy ounce. You need to be really careful because 1 normal ounce is 28 grams. The ounce that we measure precious metals in is 31.1035. So it's a big difference. 300 people on the live stream. That's quite a bit. I think it's one of the biggest, participations I've had. So I'm gonna play just so you guys can listen here to, and this was about 8 months ago. Deborah Tavares, this is what she said. Hopefully you can listen to it.
Thank you very much, Boyd. It's been a very long time since I've been here. This is Deborah Tavares with StopTheCrime.net. I say that because there is a very significant YouTube there on Stop the Crime. And one of the reasons why I was not here for 2.5 years, I used to be a regular attendee here. But Pacific Gas and Electric was intercepted with a download of documents professing the fact that they were going to be using directed energy weapons satellite based on Sonoma County. That has been up on YouTube with a plan to burn up Northern California. We discovered that Pacific Gas and Electric is operated by and large by Rothschild. Rothschild owns Weather Central and also has.
So did you guys hear that? I'm not sure. How do I share the screen, Dax? I'm not sure how I do that. I'm a bit, let's see, how do I share the screen? Uh, I'm not sure how to do it. But that was really interesting because that woman talking there was eight months ago, and lo and behold, now we have these fires in California, and PG&E they were to blame for some of the those problems, and PG&E's Rothschild controlled. Hi, Bruce. Bruce from Greensboro, North Carolina. Nice. I always remember the Greensboro Classic, the golf. Tom Seward, yeah, paid off real estate is a good thing to have. It's a ten. I think real, all the very wealthy people, wealthy families that have had wealth for hundreds of years, especially in Europe, they've still got their big estates, in Tuscany and places like that here in the UK. So yeah, paid up land is good. Andrew Holden, have you got any forecasts for gold? No, I don't really make forecasts. I think the last week, the close was quite positive, but no forecasts. But you know, trading is a different story. I think people should have gold and silver more as a savings and insurance, and I think it's you know, only going to get worse. The fiat money system and the financial system. So we need to be outside the system monetarily. The best way, in my opinion, is through precious metals. Cryptocurrency, some people is more volatile. It's more speculative, but it's outside the system. Yeah, be your own central banks has one shambles. Yeah, Dax. I'm just using youtube.com/webcam. I'm not using any software. It's a little too complicated for me. I haven't worked out. I've seen there are some softwares. I need to work on that. James Samuels, do you see gold going below 1200 after Christmas? Usually in the new year, gold does fairly well, so I'm not sure. I actually think gold is looking pretty good. I was looking at the chart. The low in August 15th at 1160, and then we're making higher highs and higher lows. So it's looking pretty good. I think the 200-day moving average is around 1260. If we can get towards that area, I think is quite positive. And the other thing I noticed as well, the commitment of traders report, and I spoke about that in my video from yesterday. The commercials, about 5 6 weeks ago, they were all gone long, net long gold. The commercials, and the commercial includes the bullion banks, and they hadn't been long in many years. And then in the last month, they increased their shorts and they went significantly net short. But last week, they actually increased, I think, their net long by 36,000 lots, and they're almost, equal and almost net long. So I think that's encouraging. That's in the futures, of course, but the futures price, unfortunately, controls the price of physical at the moment. Georgia said RT Capital is the visible portion of the Rothschild investment activities. It got out of U.S. stocks. Well, RT Capital, Rothschild Investment Trust is not run by the major Rothschild bank, which is NM Rothschild in London. It's run by Jacob Rothschild, and Jacob Rothschild set that up in the early 80s, and it's just his own business. But I guess it's interesting to look at that, but I don't think it has really, it's a drop in the ocean, I think, to the wealth of the Rothschilds, the RIT Capital Partners. And I think the public can invest in this trust. So, yeah, I'm not sure if it's significant to look at that. Mark Wallace, please tell people about capital gains payable on non-UK silver coins in UK buy pretend sovereign zone. Yeah, that's right. Coins, precious metals coins in the UK. If you buy coins of the realm, with UK minted coins, there's no capital gains tax because it's considered legal tender. But if you do buy, for example, Krugerrands, let's say you buy 100,000 pounds, and the price goes through the roof, and it's worth £1,000,000. If you sell that, you're going to have to declare capital gains. But if it's sovereigns, you don't. That's capital gains. I think you mean Jim Rogers. Uh, I don't know why he's only going to buy it at 950. That's up to him if it gets to 950. He looks at it more like a trade. I don't. I look more at gold and silver as money, as savings, for a rainy day, and then hopefully I won't have to use it. Maybe I can pass it on to my family in the future. I don't prep, Chung Chan. No, I don't. Uh, I listened though to a video, long video about this Canadian guy who goes to China a lot, is married to a Chinese. He thinks the Chinese should prep a lot more. There's more chance of China, going into mayhem than the U.S. Actually, he thinks. My Monaco 64 mug. Ohio chemtrails tell us about Vatican and their role, New World Order. Well, I think the Vatican I think, is the oldest institution in the world. All the royal families, all the countries got their power from the Vatican in Europe, that is, and I think they're very powerful. People talk about the Vatican being the spiritual capital of the New World Order. London being the financial, and Washington D.C. being the military. And all these cities are completely independent. They're not, Vatican is not part of Italy. It's an independent country. City of London is not part of the UK, and Washington D.C. is not part of the United States. Yeah, the Jesuits. I mean, the Vatican. I guess they're the first spy system, and and I guess that evolved from the confessions, right? All the priests knew everyone's business, and that evolved from that. So, like the CIA, MI6, they've all evolved from. They were created with the help of the Jesuits. I think it's John Dee in the UK in the 1600s or something. He was a Jesuit. He started intelligence for I think it was Queen Elizabeth the First. I'm not too sure about that, Tom Seward. New World Order equals whatever. I think there's people from all all religions, all ethnic groups in the New World Order. If anything, they're more Anglo, waspish Anglo Americans, I would say. And there's some of those as well. Uh, Artie Tom says the Vatican belongs to the Rothschilds. I think it's the other way around. The Rothschilds are the bankers for the Vatican. So no, I don't think the Rothschilds are as important. I think they are important, of course, but I think the Vatican is above them. Oh, have a good weekend too, Lord Humongous. As Walker says, each month keep buying small gold coins if you can afford them. I agree. Ohio chemtrails. I'm not sure, how does a baby eater look like? I'm not sure. I don't believe in this stuff. I think it's a bit, we need to like stay away from that kind of stuff. I know the system is screwed up, but, you know, that goes a little bit, that's a bit wacky. I don't know. Show me a picture and then I'll believe it. T. Hambone, thoughts on investing in companies like ABX, Hecla Mining? Too much of that. I think for the mining stocks, the best thing to do would be to go somewhere like Sprott Asset Management and just go into their funds and they publish their major holdings and try to copy them. Their precious mining funds, precious metals mining funds. Hecla Mining, I mean, that will probably do really well when silver starts moving. I've had Hecla Mining in the past. I think it's one of the oldest silver mining companies listed on the New York Stock Exchange. George Assad actually thinks the Rothschilds own the Vatican. They could. RBS, yeah, they dropped a lot last week. I mean, it's still two-thirds owned by the UK taxpayer, but yeah, not good. I think it's to do a lot with the Brexit uncertainty. Girl, OG, how long will Theresa May be in power? I don't think that much longer. She's hanging on by a thread. I don't think that much longer. CIA was started to protect the Rothschild gold. Kaz, I'm not really bothered who runs the UK or the Conservative Party. Not William, Jacob Rees-Mogg or Boris Johnson. I think that all politicians are clowns, and left or right. Uh, I don't have a preference. I've just observed. Have you checked out the website I told you before the collapse? I haven't. I will though. Sorry about that. I forgot. I'll even type it now before the collapse. Now I'll have a look at it after the live stream. I'll have a look at that website. Sorry about that. Thanks anyway for reminding me. Yeah, best website. Voting is meaningless. It's just like an exercise so that the sheep will think that they actually have some control of their own destiny. And that's why I try not to depend on the welfare state or the warfare state or the political system, even though I know you can't get out completely out of it, but try to stay away from it as much as possible and be very skeptical about everything they tell you. You know, everything they tell you, you should like think the opposite. You know, if they say, oh, this is going to happen, then you got to think, no, it's not going to happen, right? Oh, the other interesting thing that might affect the stock market in a negative way overnight and tomorrow is the fact that the talks between Vice President Pence and Chinese President Xi Jinping at the APEC meeting didn't go very well. It says here, Zero Hedge, it will, and I quote, it will be a Cold War. APEC summit ends in unprecedented chaos after dramatic U.S.-China showdown. So this normally should really hurt the stock market. No, Jazz, I haven't seen that video on the reset. No, I don't think RBS will be bailed out again. I think people would be very angry if it was. They probably will bail in the depositors. Tim 34, December 10 to 12, stocks will plummet. R ARG TV 100. I have pictures of Theresa May's private parts to prove transgender characters were available for Nelson. Not really interested in that, ARG TV. No confidence vote. Yeah, they're trying to get a no confidence vote. We'll have to see. I think if she's gonna fall, her government, not her government, but if she's gonna be fall as the leader of the government, it will probably happen this week, in my opinion. If she can hang on for this week, then maybe she'll keep going. Theresa May. Sorry, Arch TV 100. Well, one thing about a lot of the leaders nowadays, in like Theresa May, I think Macron, and also the Dutch Prime Minister, and Angela Merkel, none of these people have any children or grandchildren or anything. So it's like they don't really care about the future. I mean, you people care more about the future when they have, children and grandchildren. But when you're like, you've got no one to leave anything to, when you have no legacy, that's the other interesting thing I read a few months ago. A lot of these leaders have no children in Europe. Crypto Blockhead, just want to say thank you. Your channel is a great source of information. Share the wealth and information. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, Libra fraudster. Some people think Her dad was a famous Austrian leader from the 1930s, right? I've heard that one. Best website should be a law. You must have children. I don't agree with that. Being quite libertarian orientated, you know, people should be able to do what they want. All I'm saying is that the leaders of major countries right now have no children, and that's weird. In Europe, that is. Uh, Bauman says, just finished Tower of Basel. Yeah, that book is really eye-opening, isn't it? I mean, it just goes to show you that these wars are just unfortunately, they're just a game for these people, and people keep buying into these wars, unfortunately. But if everyone was told to read that book, in high school, can you imagine? To read that one, The Tower of Basel, and also, War is a Racket. Do you think they'd be able to recruit that many people into the army to fight wars? I don't think so. All wars are bankers' wars. Yes, Kevin, I agree. Yeah, Jekyll Island, Creature from Jekyll Island. I was listening to a video last week, uh, and it was about a campaigner. Her husband was in the military, a veteran, and she protested at this event on November 11th in the US because George W. Bush was given a medal, you know, for his service to veterans. And this woman was protesting, saying, "You're a war criminal." And they took her out of the hall where they're having the ceremony, and Joe Biden gave him the medal, and she was screaming, "Oh, you're a war criminal! How can you get a medal for, service to veterans? People died because you lied and you start a war." And the other thing I would add is it's not only George W. Bush, but also Tony Blair in this country. Same thing. Yeah, Arch TV 100. Where are the Smedley Butlers? He was very principled. He could have, you know, caved in to the bankers and taken their money, but no, he was honest. It's very, that's the problem nowadays. Most politicians are very corrupt. They're not serving the public, they're serving themselves. Solar Bruno, with your background, do you explain the deep and rebound in the 30 years Treasury bond was around 92 back to 100? 30-year Treasury bond. Let's have a look. 30-year yield. Well, the 30-year yield right now is at 332, and the high has been 346. So it has come down about 14 basis points. So I'm not sure at what price you're looking there from 92 to 100. I don't think it's come up that much. Maybe you're looking at the futures and they've got a new month going in the futures, but it actually has rebounded a bit. The yield has come down a little bit from around 3.5 to 334, but it's still quite high, quite elevated. So yeah, but I don't think it's gone up from 92 to 100. I'm not sure which one you're looking at there. Or, the other thing that happens, Bruno, is that when the Treasury issues new 30-year bonds, that 30-year bond becomes the front, becomes on the run, and the old bonds, they are not covered anymore. So the new bonds are issued at 100. Maybe that's why you've seen it go from 92 to 100. It's probably because the bond at 92 was an old bond, which is still yielding the same as the one at 100, but it's not the one that people look at anymore. So that's probably why. Hope that helps. Bologna, second oldest university. Yeah, some of the Italian universities have been around for a long time. Sosh, I saw that Warren Buffett. I don't think it's recent, but the latest reports say that he bought a lot of the U.S. banks. I don't know. You have to ask him. Erwin Schiff. Yeah, that was Peter Schiff's dad. He fought a lot against the IRS. Yeah, Jim, as I said, I saw that headline about Warren Buffett's, but I don't know. I haven't really looked too much into it. One thing that I saw, though, I remember from many years ago, just after the financial crisis, is that Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway, they sold loads of puts on the S&P, and I think so selling puts means you don't think the market's going down, and they did that years ago, and the longest maturity or expiry of these puts they sold was 2019. So, that could give you, an idea of maybe, that things are just could be about to turn. I haven't seen any. I can't really give you a view on the Swiss crypto ETF. Haven't really heard about it or looked into it. That's a good point there, Charles Patterson. He could, he's got so much. If the banks go, all his stuff goes. So maybe yeah, he's trying to prop up the banks. Big picture, actually, I think the top in the stock market was the 3rd of October, but maybe it started falling that 10-10. Yeah, yeah, I remember that Economist magazine. It was right around that time. But I think the top was 3rd of October. Start ESF. Well, that was created Exchange Stabilization Fund by the Gold Act of 1934, and basically, you know, Roosevelt screwed the American people. He confiscated their gold at $20.67 an ounce. Then he revalued it to 35, and with that profit, he started the ESF. The ESF, J.P. Morgan is the broker for the banker for the U.S. Treasury. So they do all the trades for the ESF, and I don't know how it's worth billions now. That I think it was worth 2 billion back in the 30s when it started out. It must be worth hundreds of billions now because they just JP Morgan probably front runs the hell out of that fund. And that's why they're so powerful. So there you go. But JP Morgan also helped bail out the US Treasury in the 1890s. So who is the US government? Is it the Treasury or JP Morgan or both? Hi, Susan. Nice to see you. Yeah, Chris, this is one of the viewers designed that, and I put it in the Monaco 64 store. If you're interested. Dan, you will bail in the banks if you have a lot of money in the banks, but if you don't, don't have to worry about it. You know, if you even if you think you have, you know, you think the see, I think what is it in the States? It's the you know, the institution that insures deposits. Forgot the name, but even if you think you know, you'll be bailed out by them, you know, I wouldn't be too certain. FDIC, that's right. I wouldn't be too certain about that. Even in the UK as well, we have insurance as well, but I wouldn't trust them either, because if the, you know, things got really bad, those FDIC doesn't have enough money to cover a systemic crisis. So the best way not to be bailed in is not to be have too much money in there. I don't know, Kaz. It depends on the bank. I don't know. You know, in Cyprus, I think people lost everything above, you know, the insurance level. I'm not sure. Crypto Sniper. Hi, yeah, Crypto Sniper. You know, I was talking about, you know, the fires in California, and what's that got to do with the economy? You know, the world, the globalists bringing the economy down. Well, it's because I think you know, if you Google plan to burn up Northern California, you find a video from 8 months ago by a woman called Deborah Tavares, and she says PG&E were going to do that, and that they're Rothschild backed. And I put two and two together. You know, the globalists, you know, their plan B, you know, for the United States is, if the United States didn't buy into globalization or global warming or climate change, they'd have to bring down the economy. And how would they do that? By inflating the system with massive debts. And I think we're close to that. And I think that's what Jay Powell is doing at the Fed. He's, you know, he's pulling the plug. And people need to protect themselves. I recommend precious metals, gold and silver, cryptocurrency as well, but that's more speculative, but it's out of the system. So that's the, in a nutshell, what I've been trying to cover. I've also been answering questions from the viewers. Simon Adda, where's Churchill? I'm not too sure if Churchill was, I'm not too sure about Winston Churchill. You know, if you read about the BIS, Bank for International Settlements, all these wars we've had are just like games, you know, the elite game that unfortunately we, the sheeple, a lot of we, the sheeple, play. While I don't hold stocks, you know, oh, the money will disappear, a lot of it, you know, because there's so much leverage. Some of it will go to hard assets, bonds, cash. That's right, Jazz. We didn't need World War One or World War Two. I don't think we needed any of the war. Uh, Chris Gamer, can you do video ads on live streams? Yeah, once the live streams finish and I record it and publish it as a video, I can monetize it. People can also donate if they'd like, through super chat on the live stream. I do have super chat. Susan Chapel, my granddad, whose ship was torpedoed in World War II, despised Churchill, said he was corrupt. I agree. Well, the thing that convinces me that all these wars are just like unnecessary, and they're just a game to enrich the very rich, is by reading about the BIS with the Tower of Basel, the book, and also reading War is a Racket by Smedley Butler. You know, if that's just very plain and clear. Oh yeah, Dax, I've refused a smart meter. I've been contacted many times by British Gas saying, that I could have a free smart meter, and I always say no, thank you. They can't do anything about it. Yeah, Deborah Tavares talks about that as well. That they're even using the smart meters as weapons. It's quite amazing. Greater Israel Project. Yes, Solar Bruno. In the UK, if you buy gold sovereigns, legally they're considered legal tender, so there's no tax on money. So if you buy, 100,000 pounds or 10,000 pounds, and then gold price goes through the roof, and you make over the threshold for capital gains tax, you don't have to declare it. There's no capital gains tax, but you should stick to sovereigns, half sovereigns, Britannias, with how can I say other gold coins like Krugerrands. You would have to declare it. But I mean, what I would do if I bought Krugerrands and the price went up a lot, I wouldn't sell it all at once, and I would only sell it when I needed to, and I would do it in drips and drabs, so I wouldn't, hit that threshold. Yeah, Tom, I've never gotten a flu shot. Susan Chappell, thank you for the super chat donation of $2. I appreciate that. Mickey Brown, thank you, Mario. Been listening to you up 3 to 4 years. Keep up the good work. Thank you. You're welcome. And you're welcome. As I said earlier, when this live stream's finished, it's recorded, and I'll upload it as a video, and I'm going to put videos that I think you guys should really listen to, and in relation to all this climate change, to the fires in California, to the Rothschilds, how Sir Edmund de Rothschild was, the guy behind environmentalism in the 70s and 80s, and that it's just a banker scheme to bring about a one world government, and how if they weren't able to convince Americans into this scheme, that they would bring the economy down. And how would they bring it down? Well, by building up the debt so greatly that when they pulled the plug, it would be, annihilation, and they would accept any kind of, system. And I think that's what's going to happen. And that's why we need to protect ourselves. 5G network, yeah, that's not very good either. I heard about that too. Road to Ruta, huh, yeah, I'm not sure about that. I don't think the Federal Reserve there. I don't think there's any good guys at the Federal Reserve. It's an oxymoron to say that. So I don't believe in that story. I think Bix Weir has a very lively imagination. Um, We don't need a central bank, so I don't think they're going to try to make things good. JL Allegre, I've sent bat through Brave browser. Thanks for all your work. Long life crypto. How I'm not sure how to check on that. I'll have a look. Bat Brave browser. I'm not sure about 1 billion ounces in the Grand Canyon. Really, again, that's a big weird theory. Not that I'm not open-minded, but there was an article about mining companies that try to mine in the Grand Canyon in the early 1900s, and even though there might be good prospects there, it's very expensive and not really economical to. And I think what they said there was that there was $2 billion worth, but somehow Big Swears turned that into 1 billion ounces, which is, all the gold that's been mined in the world in history is about 160,000 tons. So 2 billion ounces. Mario, are you going to lead the charge on the House of Rothschild? Uh, Not really, but not directly, but indirectly, that's what I try to do. I think the best way to lead the charge on them is to be a bit more like them in matters of money, not spiritual matters, of course, because they're not stupid with money and the way they stay independent. So, will you do a book stream soon? Yeah, maybe I will. I haven't done it for a while. Billy might be a spy for the Rothschilds. I don't know about that. Is Billy chipped? Well, Billy does have a microchip, but I think it's okay to have for dogs to have that. Uh, the dog prior to Billy, he was a Shih Tzu as well, and he got lost. He used to run away a bit, and we found him because someone was able to take him to a vet. They microchipped him, and they were able to call us. So, but not humans. I don't agree with humans being chipped, but dogs are okay, I think. Will you get the chip, Mario? No, 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 I won't. You're welcome, Steve. Yeah, it is a good chat. Thanks, Tom. All dogs in England must be chipped. Uh, that must be new because I think 10 years ago when I got Billy, I don't think it was mandatory. It might be now. I guess indirectly, I guess we are chipped with our iPhones or mobile phones or cell phones. They can track us, unfortunately. Mario's becoming more radical. Well, I hadn't really touched upon these subjects, the one world and the Rothschilds lately, but when I saw a couple of days ago this video about PG&E and Deborah Tavares, I said to myself, she warned 8 months ago, and it's happening now. You know, I'm sure the mainstream media is not going to talk about this, but it's not fake news. It's real, and she warned people. You have to be like have your head in the sand not to look into this. My favorite movie, Dontrell. I like Forrest Gump, and I like Enemy of the State. Those two I like quite a bit. So yeah, those two. But there's others as well. But yeah, Forrest Gump is probably my favorite, and I like Enemy of the State. I like the scene where Gene, was it, who's the guy that plays with Gene Hackman, the black guy? I forgot his name. He says, "You blew up the building," and Gene Hackman says, "Well, you made a phone call. That's why." Why did you blow up the building? Well, because you made a phone call. Hi, Yvonne. Yeah, you're late. Yeah, Will Smith. I love that scene when he goes, "Why did you blow up the building?" And he says, "Well, because you made a phone call." I think that's a great line. And Forrest Gump is just a great movie. I think I like it. Don't be sorry, Yvonne. We're here for a while longer. So, Kevin Halsey, do you believe the official 9/11 story? Of course I do. No, I don't, Kevin. I think it's fiction, of course, just like the Warren report, on the JFK assassination. No, I'll show you guys. I've got, where is it? I've got this sticker here, so you can all see. It's an old sticker. I bought it off Infowars.com, probably more than 10 years ago. I didn't put it into my bumper sticker. My wife doesn't like bumper stickers, but I've got it here. 9/11 that's what I think about so that's what I think about the 9/11 report. Arch TV, Yvonne, not so late for everything except dinner. SEC, the SEC Switzerland. I haven't looked into that. Sorry, Lord Humongous. Editor, news about Julian Assange. Oh, I think that they've got like an indictment for him. Yeah, I don't, I'm not, it's not sure what to think, really. Some people think, if they gonna indict him, why not Hillary Clinton? 55 trillion. I thought it was 21 trillion that the US the criminals were hiding, not 55, but that's even more. Thanks, Yvonne. Thumbs up. Depolarized sheep, or do you believe we are descendants of monkeys living on a spinning ball through space? Well, the first question, I don't believe we are descendants of monkeys, because I think, yeah, if we were, how come there's still monkeys, right? And about the flat Earth, I'm open-minded to it, but yeah, so. No, I didn't say enjoy the Ruby last night. Hi, Mary, did you see enjoy the Ruby last night? No, I didn't. What is that? Lord Humongous watched Forrest Gump yesterday. Yeah, I like that. Run, Forrest, run. freedom fighter. They should arrest uh, and charge everyone in the mainstream media for lying to us instead of Assange. I agree. That's the problem, though. You're gonna if you tell the truth, you expose the criminal activities of the establishment. They've come after you. Rugby match. No, I don't follow rugby. Okay. I used to follow sometimes rugby, soccer or football and others, cricket. But now I just follow golf because I play golf and I don't play the other sports. So yeah, Forrest Gump, he Lieutenant Dan invested in a fruit company, and they did really well, right? It was Apple. Okay, everyone, I think I'm gonna call it a day here. I'll take a few more questions, but it's we've been on for over an hour and 20 minutes. Tony DeBrune, have you seen Grant Williams, The Fall of the US Dollar is the Return to the Gold Standard Inevitable? I haven't watched that yet, but I have seen the title and the headline. Be interesting to watch it. Not surprising to me, though. Chris, yeah, House of Cards, China. Yeah, I watched a video the other day. One of my viewers sent me the link, and it was eye-opening about China because China hasn't really had cycles in the last 20, 30 years. China's just gone up, straight up. So, yeah, China, and what could bring China down? Well, a slowdown in Europe and North America. So it could be a big mess. Are you welcome, Lucian? Okay, Twin Towers was drone planes, Pentagon was rocket. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Yeah, chemtrail, I've got the page up. I will check that page. I wish everyone a great rest of the weekend. Some of you might be already on Monday if you're in Asia. And if you're a new viewer to the channel, subscribe if you enjoyed this live stream. Also, if you like to support the channel, there are links below in the description of all my videos where you can donate, PayPal, Patreon, cryptocurrencies, and you can also, buy one of these and other merchandise in the Maneko 64 store on Teespring. So thanks for all the viewers and participation, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye.